You're listening to the Building Psychological Strength podcast, Business Edition. My name is April Seifert. Not only am I a doctoral level psychologist, but I have been a successful entrepreneur for a number of years and have learned firsthand that building psychological strength can have a direct impact on your business success. In this Friday edition of the podcast, I'll offer you tools, tips, tricks, and information to help you become stronger, more resilient, and more successful. Let's get to it. Albert Einstein famously said, if people are good only because they fear punishment and a hope for a reward, then we are a sorry lot indeed. Happy Friday! You're here. You made it. Let's talk about psychology and business, shall we? Today we continue our 3-part series about something called the drama triangle. And as a quick reminder, the drama triangle was originally described by Stephen Karpman in 1961. It is the ineffective 3 roles or mindset habits that we might employ when we are faced with a challenge. And there's no one who's faced with more challenge than a business owner or an entrepreneur. So over this 3-part series, we are diving into each of the 3 aspects of the drama triangle in each of these 3 episodes. Now, last week, we talked about the first part of the drama triangle, the victim. Just to recap, when we step into the mindset or the role of the victim, we see life as happening to us. We see ourselves as being at the mercy of our circumstances. And if you missed that episode, you're definitely going to want to go back and catch it because it's extremely valuable information and it'll provide helpful context and contrast to today's episode. Now, even if you don't think that playing the victim is something that you personally do, getting a good, clear picture of it will help you as you relate to others. Now, that being said, I would venture a guess to say that literally everyone falls into the role of the victim from time to time. So just go listen to last week's episode, okay? This week, we are continuing our journey around the drama triangle by diving into the second mindset habit or role, the persecutor. The persecutor acts in his or her own self-interest. And they do this by putting other people down. They focus on the problem that they're having, and instead of actively trying to solve it, they punish others for it. Now, this goes way beyond giving constructive feedback. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But instead, it moves into being punitive. So instead of being constructive and actually moving us forward in our business, we end up staying in the same place or moving backward by being punitive. And frequently, to relate back to last week's episode, go listen to it. The persecutor tends to seek out someone who's playing the victim in order to blame them. So these two go hand in hand. When we assume the role of the persecutor, we focus our energy on punishment, not on growth. We end up creating an environment of fear of retribution, fear of failure, fear of risk. And we teach our employees or our colleagues or our team that they're going to be punished for imperfection. Now, I've only been doing these Friday business-focused episodes for a few months so far, but already the number of times that I've talked about the necessity of risk, it's astronomical. A business just can't grow without some element of risk. You can't grow, adapt, or change without trying new things, which ultimately guarantees that you're going to fail or stumble from time to time. And when we play the role of the persecutor, we stunt that growth. We zap our team of the courage to try new things. They begin to operate out of fear rather than courage. And I think you can probably see why this is detrimental to you and your business, not to mention to the people who are working for you or with you. As I mentioned last week, a man by the name of David Emerald Wommeldorf, that is such an awesome name, came up with a framework, a complementary framework called the empowerment dynamic. So like the drama triangle, it's a triangle. It's a 3-part dynamic. And it takes each of the drama triangle roles and shows a more helpful, effective role that you can transition to in order to get back on the right track. So in the case of the persecutor, Instead of focusing on punishment, you can transition to being a challenger. Rather than being punitive and focusing on punishment, the challenger invokes or focuses on invoking action and growth, learning. They don't punish, but instead they offer constructive feedback with the goal of helping a team member reach their full potential. The intent is entirely different, and so is the result. Now ask yourself, in order to make this transition, what long-term behavior am I trying to drive? What is the best outcome I can ask for from this employee? And how can I challenge them to meet that expectation? You might find that this subtle shift makes an exponential change to your business. All right, one quick thing before I go. I don't typically recommend products or services on the podcast, but there is one app that I absolutely have to tell you about, and it is the Blinkist app. Blinkist takes some of the best, most influential, most valuable nonfiction books and gists them down into 15 to 20 minute summaries. I love this app. So basically, in 15 to 20 minutes, you can listen to a series of blinks, think mini chapters, blinks, and understand the key concepts, the insights, and the take-home points from, say, I don't know, a business book, and be on your way to applying the concepts in your business. 15 to 20 minutes. Now, as someone who's a very avid reader, I read all the time. I use Blinkist in a bunch of different ways. I love this app. First of all, there's a stack of books that I know I want to get to, but I likely won't have time to physically read them, or I want to know a little bit about it right now. I get excited and I want to know now. And Blinkist helps me out with that. 15 to 20 minutes, I can get the gist, and it kind of helps me keep my peace of mind before I get to that book in my stack. The second stack of books is a set of books that I'm not sure that I want to dive into. I don't know if they're going to be worth the time for me to take to read the entire book. I kind of want to test drive. Blinkist gives that to me too. And then finally, there's a set of books that I did not even have on my radar, and I discovered them through the Blinkist app. I literally use this app all the time. I want to thank them for sponsoring this show, and because you're a listener, you can try Blinkist for yourself for free for 7 days using the link in this episode description. And if you get hooked, like I did, because you signed up with my link, you can get 20% off your first year of Blinkist. Again, that link is in this episode description. You can just swipe up and click on that link in order to get your free 7 days and 20% off your first entire year. Whew. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this business edition of the Building Psych Strength podcast. If you are an entrepreneur, current or aspiring, and you're interested in becoming more successful, hit the subscribe button. And if you're really interested in digging in deep, visit aprilseifert.com, where you can fill out an application to see if Psych Strength business success coaching is right for you. Until next week, be strong, be resilient, and be successful.